going to our correspondent, Tukumo Itunde, who is in Alausa. Hello, Tukumo, are you there?
I think I'm still here at Alausa, where the president-elect, Governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, just voted on this polling unit right behind me, like we showed earlier on Steve.
So how did we go? And then we've been talking about turnout. We know that there's an improvement, at least from your end, if you compare to what happened as at this time 2-3 weeks ago. But then on the general note, what will be your assessment? Ashwadi has been there, now he's left. What is the situation? Do we have more people compared to last time? And what is the expectation?
Just around more people. I think the crowd is even thinner than what we had during the presidential election, where this place I'm standing today. Let's even start with the timing of the starting of the process. Like I was trying to tell you earlier on, the process actually started at exactly 8:30, the stipulated time by the Independent National Electoral Commission for polls to open right here at this polling unit. Unlike what we witnessed 3 weeks ago, when the officials, the personnel of INEC would not even arrive here until about this time, a few minutes before 10 o'clock, clearly an hour and a half behind schedule on that day. So looking at the opening of the process, the timing, we've witnessed a difference in that day. So talking about the turnout of people, I think if anything, if what I see here today compared to what I saw during that presidential election is anything to go by, I would say the turnout has not been that encouraging. But that's not to say this is the only polling unit that I've been to, because of course, like I said, this was what we were expecting the president-elect to vote, and this is what he voted. So probably when we move from here, or we'll still stay here for some time more, we could see more voters coming out to actually exercise their rights here. We don't know what the situation is elsewhere. Of course, there's another polling unit just down the street here. Even 3 weeks ago during that presidential election, the turnout of voters there was bigger than what we recorded here. But it's still too early, Steve, to actually determine whether the turnout will be lower or better than what we recorded during the presidential contest.
Since you've been there or whilst you're there, have you actually spoken to anybody around to sort of get a feel of what their thoughts are at this point in time concerning this voting process? Have you been able to talk to anybody and just ask them how they feel?
I've been interacting with people who think that the right of the personnel of the Independent National Electoral Commission actually signals that it's likely going to be a better process than witnessed during that contest. Even some other voters, some people who are standing around here too, we don't know whether all of them are voters though, they seem satisfied so far with the process, but we don't know what the day has in stock for us. So we are going to be watching, we are going to be keeping video, we're going to be observing the process and give more report on what the situation is then, that we can determine whether it's actually better or it's lower in standard than what we have witnessed 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so timing and logistics pass mark from what you have said so far, but in terms of the technology, usage of levers, and turnaround of people being accredited and voting, would that also end your pass mark from what you have observed so far?
Definitely. I mean, when maybe you could say maybe that may not be the best way to judge the functionality of the technology. I think it took the president-elect less than 5 minutes to actually get accredited and cast his votes. at this point, and even others that have been here before him. We had his daughter, the Yaloja General of Nigeria, Folashade Ojo, who has equally been here. It took less than 5 minutes actually to get accredited and cast our vote. So far, I've not seen any, I've not heard, and I've not seen any voter who has come here and rejected because they are unable to get accredited. So far, I think the Beavers are functioning well, but we don't know if the functionality will remain the same all through the day, or there will be some kind of a change.
All right, Okubo, I mean, just to a word of caution there on Iyaloja General of the Federation. I think you should be cautious in promoting Folashade Ojo. She's still Iyaloja for Lagos, not for Nigeria yet. So that's just my Thank you very much, Okubo. Good job so far. Thank you.
You need to say that the process is. Okay.
All right, we will go on short break. Thank you so much, Chidi and Emmanuel Ifeanyi, for a great job.
Thank you.
Don't go away, viewers will be back shortly to the Arise special coverage of the governorship and House of Assembly elections in Nigeria. Thank you. We'll be back.
Listen back. You would like to show. Is this something you're carrying?
This time is like this phone is even heavier than the phone. If you remove it now from this pan, watch.
Looking to be upside down.
But they should have been a bit of rotating it. It should be the same view. I'd rather rotate this one.
I didn't even
What is like this is okay.
Thank you. A wonderful Saturday morning to all of us. Yes, it is. It's peaceful. It's what we expect, considering all the talks and fears about what could happen. I think that the level of civility might have improved for the past 3 weeks, and the disaffections are beginning to evolve. So we're happy that there's peace.
To go
That's
out
in one piece as well.
So this
So there's a feeling of being slightly underwhelmed. and the turnout of the voters so far.
Well, a
What's your
number
take on
of,
that?
well, a number of theories have been spun, and we can't just jettison those realities. If, for instance, you have a question on the track in a race,
Since that we have, you know, you come in, but it's interesting that we're on this street. This was the street where I was raised, right? You know, behind you is Nnamdi Azikiwe built this house. This is what I used to do. One of the first settlers in this area of Lagos, and it's a community that has been built based on, you know, the Lagosian, the indigenous Lagosian is welcoming. It's not tribal. It's exposed. And that's why Lagos State will become the center of excellence. But unfortunately, the APC government takes its strength from division, violence, intimidation. And this is what they've done for almost 2 decades. So, by God's grace, the will of people will prevail. And this government that gets its validity based on voter intimidation will be a thing of the past. There has been a lot of targeted voter suppression. Currently now at VGC, the polling agents do not want to go into the estates. Instead, they're trying to get people to come to the express, where they've colluded with dogs to harass and disenfranchise them. So that's already an illegal thing because INEC, the police have an address, they have a location, and it's not on the highway. So we are working to respond to that. But you see, this just puts the entire exercise, you know, the credibility of it into question. You have a situation where in Alimosho in Iba, so 10 minutes ago when I checked, police materials have not arrived. So you find that everywhere that we are strong and we show strength, either police materials are not yet to arrive. You have a situation where in Alimosho, the police agents, the police escorts, the EOs for the police are saying that they were not paid the last time, so they are not going to the field. But how does that concern us? INEC has been funded to do all of this, so you know it's a ploy just to try to manipulate the election. So in an election that you must win and win well. I'm not somebody that comes out and pulls back punches. You must win and win well. There must be transmission of votes, which is the electronic procedure. There must be a situation where this voter intimidation is corrected, right? And there must be a clear attempt by INEC to actually have a credible election. If that's not the case, I'm not congratulating someone that has this mandate from voter suppression and intimidation. Why would I do that? I'll go to court. This is a fight for the soul of Lagos. It's a fight to take away voter intimidation, voter suppression, a mandate that only has credibility and validity in violence. It's not by performance. It's not by the people actually wishing them into position. It's by violence, intimidation, inducement, and a group of people, a new group of people are coming out and saying enough is enough. They want a government that's accountable to them. They want a government that works in their interest, not the interest of a state capture, right? And that's what you saw in the last election, and by God's grace, that's what you see again today. INEC must transmit votes electronically. We've gotten reports from us, from several other places where the beavers has already been preloaded, and that's unacceptable. Right? We are not fools, right? And we're going to resist all of that. So, whatever intimidation that they want to do, by God's grace, the will of people will prevail in this election. It's a battle for the soul of Lagos. It's a battle for a government for the people. This election is a battle for the soul of Lagos. It's a battle where we want to put in a government for the people that works for the people and is focused and centered on the interests of the people, not the current state capture that has happened in Lagos for the last 24 years. Thank you.
All right, so that was Balibo Rosevival, the candidate of the Labour Party, giving insights on what this is all about, to him. But just before we continue, Mr. Nemi Kono, just to say that we also have in the studio in Lagos with us, Emmanuel Ifeni still, and in Abuja, Mma Oji, who will also be joining us. But Mr. Kono, we are making a point. If you can link that to what Gbadebo said and what we are seeing so far.
The first place, when somebody is on a racetrack and whilst you're ready to actually hear the sound of the gun, and there's an infraction because somebody amongst the runners actually jumped, you find out that each time that error comes up, the enthusiasm and being fired up reduces. Now that's a fact of the matter. 25th, we were supposed to wait for 2 weeks, and people were all out and ready, and were told just 48 hours before Saturday, Wednesday night, that the election had been extended or postponed by 1 week. That in the first place would get people perhaps have traveled to the core interiors of their villages to actually feel, goodness me, what is going on here? And they have to return for businesses. Don't forget that the fact that we're on holidays for about a month or thereabout because of this election has resulted in people not attending to their businesses, or even some organizations are operating in half. That's one part. The issues that emanated following the elections of February 25 are realities that we have to look at as more or less as the microcosm of a larger Nigerian problem. Because if you check it, we're talking about INEC. But INEC is only one of the several institutions responsible for the delivery of good governance. INEC is one in the many chains of value expected that people should leverage and experience the betterment of their lives. So when INEC, for instance, goes into an election, and you find out that certain things that happen at the respective polling units actually contravenes the obvious provisions in the Electoral Act 2022 as amended, obviously that's another thing. We also found out that certain persons were injured at the February 25th poll. Because if you're talking about the reason people are not as out as we see them, you need to bring all of the reasons together. And that is why theories are very important to solving problems, especially if you are doing dissections within the academia. So that is also one part of the issue here. That a lot of people who perhaps felt their lives were threatened, maybe after they found out they didn't support them or vote for a certain political party, also have their lives more or less like, is it about election? And if you look at it, the thing said by Rose Wagner, the candidate of the Labour Party, is also spun into the narrative regarding the fact that some polling units that were supposed to be on certain estate, of course, the things he said will still be at the level of allegation because we're not taking them. We've not let the correspondent talk about it. So for now, the alleged, improper position of the people that should be on the estate but were outside is also another factor. It talks about inducement, talks about threat, talks about all of those things. Well, we could say that some of those things were true from the last election, but the thing that he said now, some of those have to be verified. But in all, it must be said that the Nigerian system, particularly the process of addressing issues or doing things, must evolve. Must evolve because we are a leading nation. And if you check virtually all walks of life across the globe, Nigerians keep adding value and are core parts of the process of advancement in many advanced democracies. It means therefore that this nation has the capacity to replicate even something more than that. Because immediately if your best hands and heads are not delivering the value that could actually result in incremental investment and particularly foreign exchange for your country, then another country benefits from that. We know how many Nigerians are in the cabinet of our President Joe Biden as we speak, and of course the UK government. So I want to say here that this process that we perhaps have not managed well should be the issue. And we must also ensure that ditto all walks of life, particularly as it concerns governance, as it concerns government policy, as it concerns fiscal finance, we must begin to look at the areas where processes are not done well. There was something the Labour Party governorship candidate said. He said some people didn't come to the polling units because they've not been paid for the last election. Let me say this. I have right on my phone. If I take my phone, I'll show you somebody who said that it was part of the last one of the adults. They paid the person last week, just 2 or 3 days ago. INEC pay the person
For the job done.
for the job they have to do. This is international thing. My phone is out there. I can read the message right here. I'm saying here that INEC should also endeavor that things like this don't happen. Pensioners, the data say for instance, 90-month backlog of pensions. And the same state produced a running mate for governorship rally. These are things we're going to before. Lagos, for instance, we're talking about certain issues regarding the sanity of the streets of Lagos. The sanity associated with people who don't have business managing and traffic, all these things. Those are some things that we, so process is very key. So I have to say that as far as these elections are concerned, whilst people will go to court as they are already in court for the February 25 elections, it must be made very clear that things associated with INEC not paying people as and when they should pay people is a reflection of the larger Nigerian problem, and INEC cannot be subtracted from that burden because it is a bigger body that INEC is representing.
All right.
Yes, please.
All right, Mr. Kuno. Let's hook up with Dr. Joe Abba. It's actually Dr. Abba that we have in Abuja studios. He's a former Director General of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms. Good morning, Dr. Abba. Good to have you join us on this special coverage.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Ruth. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Well, voting is underway. What are your thoughts? What are your expectations? Can INEC get it right this time around? Are you confident?
Well, my thoughts, first of all, are a sense of gratitude that our democracy is 24 years old. We've come from a very long way from the times of military rule to when people were just writing results in hotel rooms while voting is going on. To a scenario where with the 2022 Electoral Act, a number of the issues and challenges that have been identified that impeded INEC's ability to perform have been addressed. They were given first-line charge in terms of their budgeting. The money to them was to be released at least a year before the elections. They were given powers to review and upturn the results issued by the head of a polling unit. They were given authority to decide how to transmit results. So a number of things that had been contentious issues in the past, the Electoral Act tried to address. And even in the middle of a cash crisis, I understand that INEC was provided with the cash that it needed to run the elections. They were provided with petrol to ensure that at least their vendors were provided with petrol to ensure that they were able to work. The Electoral Act also recognized the role of technology and validated it. And so, yes, INEC was empowered with almost everything that I think it needed to do to run good and credible elections. There were, of course, challenges in the presidential elections. The hope is that the 2 weeks between then and now is enough for INEC to have fixed a number of those challenges. I noticed, for instance, that for a change, INEC is now engaging on social media and providing frequent updates, because communication was one of the key weaknesses in the presidential elections. People had certain expectations which INEC itself had raised, particularly with regards to the electronic transmission of results. And a number of people came out ready to vote. The INEC officials were nowhere to be found in a number of places. So, the hope is that today's elections, INEC officials would have arrived. It's been mixed stories so far across the country. In some places, they were there right on time. In other places, they haven't been. There have been reports of low voter turnout, and that is attributable possibly to a number of things, including including, maybe it's just earlier. We just need to wait a little bit more to see whether the voter turnout improves. But I suspect that in some cases too, there may have been a sense of disillusionment, particularly for people who came out to vote in the last elections, stayed out under the sun and the rain, and were not able to vote. A number of the young people may also have felt that their expectations were not met. And like I said, a number of those expectations have been raised by INEC itself. So my hope is that those lessons would have been learned and that today's elections will be better than the one of the presidential one. Thank you.
Ask you, Dr. Abba. There have been some speculations, some accusations and speculations that some of these polling units, like Ruth Weigel just said, that a polling unit that was supposed to be inside VGC was now being held outside the estate. There have been some speculations that in some other areas there have been hoodlums already, causing havoc. My issue is with INEC deciding or promising to deliver and not have any contingencies. Shouldn't there have been a line, a hotline or so that you can call belonging to INEC when you see such discrepancies happening? They should have made that available so anybody that sees what's untoward or what is not supposed to be happening can easily call, and they have access to INEC to make their complaints, and INEC can immediately rectify that problem. What's your take on that?
Ruth is a very good point, and although elections are complex project management activities to undertake, particularly where there are interdependencies in various areas. So INEC has to work with transporters to move materials. It has to rely on security agents. It has to find a way to constrain the desperation of politicians. So all of these things are difficult things to do. However, we need to separate those things that are within INEC's control to do. So when INEC makes an announcement following the presidential elections that uploading results onto the IREV was not possible because of technological challenges, it is entirely valid to think, well, didn't you have a plan in case something didn't go well? Shouldn't you have known that there will be a large amount of traffic on the platform? So I agree with you that INEC needs to do everything to make sure that those things that are within its own control are done in the best way possible. You can then, look at the other interdependencies that are not entirely within their control. But those things within their control, like you said, like having a hotline that people can report infractions to, should be there. And that's why, like I said, I was happy that INEC's Twitter handle is actually providing updates today. I hope it's not the traditional government way of engaging with social media, which is unidirectional. It just gives information, it doesn't engage, it doesn't respond. I hope that people, at least those on social media, will be able to report some of these things through those channels, and that whoever is handling that social media handle would be able to direct the concerns to appropriate quarters. But yes, I agree entirely that INEC should have a hotline. I've actually seen a number of hotlines advertised. If, for instance, you think there are thugs, making it difficult for people to vote or threatening people, I believe the police has a hotline, and I've seen one or two others. But yes, I agree with you that there should be a means through which INEC is able to get immediate reports and then do what it can to address any challenges.
All right, thank you, Dr. Abba. We'll still come back to you later. But right now we'll go to Bauchi, where the Arise correspondent, Omo Mbazwaye, is waiting to give us the update. Hello, Omo. Omo, what is the situation in your location at the moment?
Oh, well, it's the moment of truth and the moment that the people of Bauchi State have been waiting for quite a while now. And they know that this governorship election, as well as the state assembly elections that is going to run concurrently with it, it's very important to them. So they are all out. They have been coming out since early morning, that we have been driving from the steel capital in Bauchi to where I am actually standing right now, which is Yokwa. It's about 2 hours drive from the city, which is the capital city in Bauchi. And we are made to understand that this particular polling unit right behind me is exactly where the incumbent governor of the state, Bala Mohammed, will be casting his vote much later in the day. But so far, it's been so good. The people are, going about the voting and the accreditation processes. It's been taking maybe about an average of between 5 to 10 minutes for each person, to actually go through all of the process. But right now, we haven't been hearing any afterwards remarks about the election. Everything has been going on smoothly for now. And you know that Bauchi State is one battleground in the northeast region of Nigeria, and that's because while 12 candidates are going to contest in this governorship election, but we know that the race is actually majorly between a particular candidate, that's talking about the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, who is also the incumbent governor, Bala Mohammed, and the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, former Chief of Air Staff, Sadiq Abubakar, and then the former Speaker of the State House Assembly and a serving senator, that's talking about Haliru Jika. But so far, like I said, logistics has been very, very good. The election started in most places that we witnessed before getting to this point, almost about 8 o'clock in the morning. People were setting up, the electoral officers were setting up all their tables and other materials they need, and putting, the register so that people could cross-check their names.
All right, Omo, thank you. We'll still be back with you. But right now in the studio, Emmanuel, you know that Lagos in particular is one of the battleground states, given the fact that it was not the ruling party that won 3 weeks ago during the presidential election. What we see is that it is not just what is happening at the polling unit that may be the issue. It is also what is not happening. Social media is awash now with different reports of intimidation, voter suppression, around Surulere in particular, around Ikota in Lagos, around VGC, the area that Agbadebo Revival of Labour Party made reference to. At this point, yes, this is about going to 3 hours after election started. What do you think is evolving, given the fact that people are saying, no, this is not what, a few people on social media are saying that this is not what we bargained for, and so many people have been posting in record time their own encounter at their polling unit?
Well, let us deal with this issue of what looks like voter suppression and the security agencies. I will mention again. The police commissioner was on a program yesterday, Lagos State Police Commission, talking about how ready they are to deal with any untoward behavior. Now, if you check what has been happening, the areas where they destroyed ballot boxes 2019, destroyed ballot boxes in that same location in presidential election last month. And you will wonder, what does the security agency do with information or intelligence? So, unless they can prove that they are not colluding, the trouble spots are well known. They are well known in Lagos. And if these thugs go there and act free, intimidate people, only for the police to say, what can we do thereafter, then there's a problem in our hands. So the commissioner of police, I want to believe, they are also monitoring situation in the state where people are being intimidated. They must move their men there and make sure that the voters there have access, unfettered access to go and cast their vote for the candidate of their choice. And if the police is not taking care of that situation, then we'll have a problem in our hands. As for INEC, whether they get reports, in every state they have their own situation rule, because there are things that are within the purview of INEC to deal with. If INEC officials in a particular location refuse to go to the right spot, no matter where you are getting the information from, whether it's from a candidate or from Twitter or from Facebook, INEC must react immediately to deal with that situation to ensure that their operatives, their staff, ad hoc or permanent, move to the right location. These are things they can deal with. Politicians will always want to circumvent the system, and it's not only in Nigeria, by the way, because Trump tried to stop in America. So we don't see politicians in Nigeria anymore. The politicians, some will always want to circumvent the rules. So it is the duty of the umpire to ensure that the rules are followed. It is the duty of the security agencies, the police, and we're calling on them to do. Yes, to show that they are not compromised, they just have to. They know the trouble spots. The Lagos State Commission of Police cannot say they don't know the trouble spots in Lagos, where they are likely to be the flashpoints on the election day. They know that if they are not policing those areas, then we have a problem in our hands.
Okay. Anyway, our last correspondent, Obetime George from Rivers State. Sorry I said Bayelsa, from Rivers State, joins us again. So Obetime, what's the update? Your shirt is still white, so obviously nobody has harassed you yet.
No. I'm in a familiar hood. Ward 10, Unit 003. So if you say Bayelsa or River State, I'm caught in between, from the same cloth. Bayelsa on the old River State. Well, yeah, I'm in Port Harcourt. Ward 10, Unit 003, Obiakpon local government area of River State. So I'm still within the familiar territory. Okay, the experience has been so much. This lady here, she's married, she has cast her ballot. Tell us your experience here today, and then how it was during the presidential and national assembly elections.
Okay, the turnout today is very, very poor compared to the presidential elections. The last election we had over 500 persons, and today, you can see the crowd, they're less than 200. People are really not happy about what happened the last time, so the turnout, is what you can see behind me. And we are voting anyway because we have to exercise our civil rights, but we are really not happy. And we hope that INEC will do what they promised. We hope that our votes will count. We hope that the results will be uploaded real time. And that's what we're looking forward to at the end of this election.
Your name, please?
My name is Mrs. Augusta Imojak.
Augusta Imojak. Well, 3 names in one. Okay, there's a man here, a Manchester United fan. I believe he wins his match tomorrow. But come, Nigeria is important here. We're talking about 32 constituencies in Rivers State, that is in the House of Assembly. And then, of course, who will take over from the man, Governor Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike? So what's the experience here voting today?
Today is very, very low. It's not like on 25th. 25th, we had about more than maybe 500 persons. You understand, here was crowded. But today you can see everywhere is empty. People are not happy. People didn't come out to vote today. We have less than 100 registered here today coming to vote. So today is a bit very disappointing.
But you chose to come out to vote. What's the message you're sending out to those who are watching Arise News right now, who have their PVCs, who you think should enrich the democratic process?
For myself, I've decided that I will vote no matter what. So my message today is people should always come out to, to exercise their franchise. It is very good to come and vote, no matter what happens. We still have this confidence that the right thing will be done. Even the 25th February, we still have the confidence that the right thing will be done. We still have the confidence. That's why I'm coming here today to vote. You understand? I believe and. Well, my advice to INEC that they should upload based on what they said, what they promised us.
And you're going to stay here to watch that happen?
I will stay here till it's uploaded because last time I stayed here till 10 o'clock and the result was uploaded.
So. Okay, thank you very much. You can hear the doggedness, the resilience, how green he is. He believes that something will be done, that the INEC, the electoral umpire, will do the right thing. Like I said earlier, they should sing redemption song. Well, that belief and confidence that INEC will do it is the reason these persons are here, and more are still coming. We believe as the day goes on, as the day rolls by, more persons will be coming to vote. You see, there's a particular line from Whitney Houston's song, When You Believe. There's a soundtrack to that movie. It's a cartoon, actually. It said, though hope is frail, it is hard to kill. So people are here to demonstrate their hope and confidence in the democratic process, to see a governor elected in Rivers State who will reflect their own choice. And of course, 32 state assembly members to work out the laws for them, for their growth and development. So that's the reason here.
Thank you, Lieutenant Judge.
All right, so we have the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Olúṣọlá Sanwó-Olú, who is the candidate of the APC, seeking re-election and of course casting his ballot right now in Lagos State.
But we had one this time around. I don't think this is one of the biggest battles that he must have fought in his political career.
Possibly the biggest battle.
The biggest battle of the career. He has left no stone unturned.
Which is good for democracy.
Well, it's good for democracy. It's a wake-up call.
Absolutely.
That is not like before. You understand?
It is a popular saying within the fold, political fold that it belongs to, that power is not served a la carte. And I think that what the demonstration of that is what we are.
But I think that's what the image is trying to shake off now. Right? He have been Tinubu's boy and been his own man. And I think he has also gone the extra mile to connect the people, especially in these last few months.
Well, we still have Mr. Kono and Emmanuel Rufini. The governor tried to become his own man in a political terrain where
and connect the people too, not just becoming his own man.
I think he has moved around quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
he has tried. He has done practically everything. The only thing he hasn't done maybe was to make your hair or something.
Oh, he did that. he has visited hairdressers too. I think he has connected everywhere. There's nothing. There's no T he hasn't crossed and I he hasn't dotted in this.
Mr. Kono, what do you say to that?
Well, I think that it is just unfamiliar in this part of the world for people to see that somebody seeking election or re-election will come to your homes, will go to your places of work. In more developed countries, that's where you go to seek votes. You don't go to seek votes in rallies.
Exactly.
Where you can have 10,000 unknown persons, you're probably giving certain monies and food to come and make some noise, and the media buzz is created. In more developed crimes, people should know those who want to represent them. And I think I'm happy that for the first time, the governor has been pushed out to really do what it means to seek people's votes. You go to the mechanic workshop, those who are courier riders, you go to different places. I saw the video of where he was making somebody's hair. And in fact, there was a young girl who really felt, I can't speak to my governor if I'm not happy. And I think that for the first time, we see somebody that was taken almost to the cleaners because they believe you owe us as our representative. So it is key. And I think another thing I have said is been to churches. He has been a delivery man as well. So I think that is where you seek your votes. The people, not in rallies. Because the mixed multitude that rallies don't usually represent the people who become. Mixed multitude is what it's called. So I think that what perhaps has also worked for him is listening to his campaign advisors, that with the way things are going, you have to connect with the people. But there's a message here. The message is that you connect with the people to get their votes. You don't connect with mixed multitudes. And I think that apart from him, other candidates also, Rose Bible has gone to a number of places as well where he believes he could connect with people, but because the governor is who we're talking about. They not also look at how just somebody has been able to make other people feel uncomfortable. Because
even if
you check the evolution of election in the past 20 years or so in the Fourth Republic, you find that it's been more of rallies than meeting people in their respective groups one-on-one. This is the first time that somebody who holds the power of incumbency seems to be the one connecting one-on-one more with people. And I think it's instructive also because the political hegemony or leaders or representatives have come to terms with the fact that the electorates have realized the power in their hands. And if we disrespect them, from what we have experienced at the February 25th polls, we could pay a huge price. So I think it's a wake-up call for us, for the electorate, for those in the media as well, which also will influence the change of narratives regarding how we begin to see people. Now our conversation will move away from that.
So let's listen to what the governor is saying.
We have just witnessed my casting of my own votes this morning. My wife and I are happy with the from INEC. We're happy with the level of turnout at this polling unit. You can see that I'm told that they came right on time, and voting is on. I think it's a time for us as a people to see and to understand that this process is not meant to be a process of violence. Election that leads to a democratic process is the best form of a validation of what true democracy should be about. And so I want to reiterate again that this contest is about peace, it's about progress, it's about prosperity for our state and our country at large. And I want you all, gentlemen of the press, to continue to preach, to advocate for everyone to have the right to be able to express themselves freely, fairly, and transparently. I'm indeed happy driving here this morning that everywhere in the city looks calm. But there are a few disturbing videos that we also seen where some parties, I'm told that they were doing one or two things which is not verifiable, so I'm not going to talk about it. Right? But really is just to say that I'm excited and I'm happy to be here. And I want to ask that all of our voters, all of our citizens should just remain vigilant. You know, if you see anything, say something, and just all let's come out, you know, and exercise our right freely, devoid of any form of acrimony or any form of protest or any form of intimidation. That is not acceptable as a government. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo wa pé a ti débi ọlọ́dẹ ti fún wa lórí ọ̀fẹ́ láti dìbò. Ẹni pé ìbò yẹn ó lọ wọ́rọ́wọ́ bó ti jẹ́ pé àwọn oníròyìn ẹ pọ̀ gan-an, ó yé ni bó ṣe rí. Èyí tá à ń ṣe yìí kò ń ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ kó fa jàgídíjàgan. Ètò ìdìbò ó jẹ́ ẹ̀tọ́ gbogbo ọmọ ìlú Èkó, gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà láti lè ṣe tó máa lọ wọ́ọ́rọ́wọ́ọ́rọ́ tí ò ní sí jà, tí ò ní sí ìtẹ̀jẹ̀sílẹ̀, tí ò ní sí jàgídíjàgan, tá a máa ṣe tó máa lọ tọ́lọ́dẹ máa fún wa ṣe. Gbogbo yín náà lẹ́bàá fi jáde ẹ lajú sílẹ̀ kẹrí pé ìbọn tẹ́ ń ṣe pé kò sí wàhálà ń bẹ̀. Mo dẹ̀ sọ náà káàkiri pé gbogbo Èkó a máa tú jáde ní wọ́ọ́rọ́wọ́ tá à ní ṣe níjà nítorí ẹ̀yin
So, Dr. Alva, as you can see, you know, this race of this seat has been the toughest ever, you know. And I'm listening to the Lagos State Governor talking now, and I'm looking at how much weight he has lost. And I'm also thinking, what could he have added to give him a bit more, even more presence or whatever? And this now gets him down to the other candidates, like the likes of Jamdor, who took a Funke Akindele because she's an actress. And I wonder whether sometimes this also helps in your running mates.
The reality, the political competition.
No, I think Dr. Abba.
First of all, Dr. Abba, I don't know if it's
Dr. Abba.
Okay, here you are. I was saying that, as listening to Sanwo-Olu, you can see that, he probably has not slept in the last 3 months. He has lost weight, he's totally exhausted, and it has been a very hard-drawn battle. But sometimes I also wonder whether your choice of running mates also helps in your popularity. Like the candidate of PDP, Jandor, now for instance, that Funke Akindele is running with. Do you think that also helps when you take a party or take somebody that can complement you and maybe increase your chances?
Thank you, Ruth. Let me start by appealing to everyone, particularly the youth, to go out and vote today. Those of us that grew up under military rule know how many lives were lost just to get us to a democratic process. So please do go out and vote. And if your votes don't count, you will not have governors braiding hair and governors, going around campaigning from place to place. So it's important that you exercise this democratic right that you have, because to my mind, the two most important things to any nation is the freedom to be able to choose your leaders and the freedom of expression. Those two things to me are cardinal in any progressive society. So please do go out and vote. Back to your question, Ruth. Well, the politics and elections are essentially popularity contests. That's what they are. So you choose whoever you believe would be able to, get you the most votes. So if that person is an actress or a technocrat or a business person, it is within your own calculations as the lead candidate to choose who works for you best as a running mate. There are of course many other considerations. Do you choose a woman and then appeal to a part of the populace? Do you choose someone from a different religion or the same religion? Do you choose someone from a different part of the state? Do you choose someone from a different orientation than you to appeal to that particular constituency? All of these things are factored, and indeed some of the political parties enshrine them in their constitutions, the way that lead candidates and deputies should be chosen. And in a multi-ethnic, multi-religious country like Nigeria, those things are always important. Balancing them are always important to make sure that everybody is included. Inclusion is very, very important. And you can't say, because we included this person or this group the last time and they didn't perform, we wouldn't include them. In a multi-ethnic, diverse society, inclusion is absolutely important. And so, you select your running mate based on what you believe that person will add. But in addition to that, it's also to put in place a number of these considerations. So there are some states, for instance, where there is an understood zoning process. So among the 3 senatorial zones, that is understood and respected. In some other states, that's not the case, and people feel that they have better chances of winning by choosing someone from a different zone of the state other than the one that people feel that should not produce the candidate. So it's all political calculations, but like I said, at the end of the day, elections are essentially a popularity contest. People vote for who they feel they should vote for. Our democracy is only just now maturing to people beginning to consider policies. will fuel subsidy be removed or not? Will the exchange rates merge or not? It's only now that we're beginning to discuss a lot of those issues quite seriously, which is an excellent improvement in our democracy. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's still a popularity contest. The most popular person still wins.
Baba, thank you so much for the insights and thanks for joining us on this special coverage of the elections. We're back in the studio in Lagos with Mr. Adeni Kono and Emmanuel Ifeni. Emmanuel, let me come to you first. I mean, it's a popularity contest, Dr. Abba says, but then looking at it holistically, you know, it isn't just, what makes you popular isn't just what you do or what you say, it is the totality of what you represent. I mean, have we had that, you know, coming into this election, particularly for the governorship and for the House of Assembly all over the country?
Well, first, I want to agree with you that we hope our politics will get to the level where a candidate has to really come to the level to ask for your votes. We need to get to that level.
Knock on the doors in the
political evolution.
Yeah.
In more advanced political class, it is politics 101, how to mobilize votes.
That's right.
You must get to the level. But because of the dominant political party structure we've had all this while, you only just need to pick the ticket of a political party and you're good to go. And that's why you see so much litigation fight to pick the ticket of some political party. It will go all the way to the Supreme Court just to get the ticket. Because they know once you get the ticket, you are good to go. You are the right people. But all that seems to have changed, or is changing after the February 25 presidential election. But certainly Lagos, governors all have to come out of his moving around, doing chop knuckles everywhere. Whoever cared to stretch his hand, he was ready to give you a chop knuckle. I'm your person, I'm your governor.
This boy can win Lagos.
Yes, and with this environment, because you see that your party is not a guarantee that you will win. So they are putting, the candidates are putting extra work. Even as the governor was also going out, the other candidates do that. We have to redouble our efforts because the governor is now out there meeting with people. We thought we had monopoly to meet the ordinary people. So,
okay, so
we have Bajamia here.
They don't do psychological business.
Yeah, that's in Surulere. But that's in Surulere, and you know that within the configuration of Lagos politics, Surulere is a hot place. So, Speaker of the House is yes, it is.
Not everywhere. I don't
social media,
I think people want
to make a number of areas within Surulere. It's a bit hot. You know, different reports showing that things are getting hot around there, getting hot.
That's the brother Larry.
Because in Surulere,
even the results are
where the political meeting
show that he won everywhere.
That's
right. Won almost everywhere.
And
the result
two of the gladiators, interestingly, are both actors. One tried to return for the third time.
I don't know, people say
the House of Assembly Surulere Constituency. And another young actor trying to displace the Surulere is, we don't know whether patience will be the virtue this time around, using the name Surulere. But Surulere is getting hot as we speak.
But this is not a reflection of what we're hearing from social media.
From other polling units. It's a different constituency from where Femi Bajamia.
No, of course, when number one citizen now, I don't know. Number four. Citizen voting somewhere, of course, you expect to become all around.
Okay, let's go back to the today, and let's hear what he has to give us.
Thank you very much for joining us here. We're still on the street of Lagos, specifically where it's Surulere area of the states, where the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, is actually casting his vote at this polling unit. He's just arrived here, I think with his mom. I see an elderly woman with him. He's just waiting for the elderly woman to just cast his vote, and he is going to the voting clinical now to cast his votes for his preferred candidate for governorship, as well as the State House of Assembly member. That is what is going on here. He arrived here, at 3-4 minutes ago, and he's got accredited, and it's just going through the process of exercising his right as a citizen of Nigeria here at the polling unit here in Surulere, Lagos. So far, we've, like reported earlier, we've not heard or seen any case of beavers malfunctioning. They came here with the people that are with them. They've all been accredited, and they're waiting. Some of us are waiting in line after the speaker to cast their votes here. Ruth. Are you with me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. I'm saying that aside from Gbajabiamila and the people that are around him, what's the crowd like? Are there a lot of people there? Voters around?
Not that I would describe as a lot. There are other voters that have been that were cited here since we arrived here about 15-20 minutes ago, and we've cited some voters who have actually passed through the process. But from what I've gathered here, I wasn't here 3 weeks ago when the presidential election was conducted. But from what I gathered, the crowd here is far thinner than what was experienced in polling units during the presidential election. So that we just follow the pattern that we saw earlier at Ikeja, where the president-elect actually voted. But we still don't know. It's just about, what time is it now? It's about 11 a.m. now. It's still very early in the day to determine whether or not the voter turnout today here at this polling unit will be lower than what was experienced 3 weeks ago during the presidential contest.
All right, Tokumo, thank you. I will still come back to you, but right now we're in the studios with Adini. Yeah, okay. Tokumo, yes. Go on, Tokumo. You have something to share with us?
I think the speaker is just done now. The speaker is just done now. He might be giving us a word or two about the process here and some other issues that we may be throwing at him. If you can, as you can see on the screen, these days are just trying to make him understand that it's live on TV, and we'll be willing to ask him 1 or 2 questions about the process here so far.
Learning has become something of a mini Lord of the Money. It's really great. This is the 6th time that is going back to the House of Reps, you know.
But I don't think he'll be coming back as House of Reps this time around.
As a speaker?
I'm not a speaker, but I don't think he'll be going back to the House of Reps. I think he has won. If he's given a better position in the ministry station, he might not go back.
Well, I've just come on now. From what I can see and from what I've heard, because I was watching TV before I came out. So from what I've heard and what I've seen, INEC has upped its game. There's been a lot of improvement in terms of preparedness by the commission. I believe materials came early, the staff came early. Accreditation has gone well fairly. Beavers has worked fairly practically everywhere, from my understanding. That's on one hand, as far as INEC is concerned. As far as the people are concerned, the electorate, the masses, I believe that so far so good, very peaceful. very, very peaceful. You can see here in my polling unit, it's orderly, it's peaceful. I think the only downside is from what I'm hearing also all over is the voter turnout has been incredibly low. But then I won't come to conclusions yet because it's early days. We still have, I'm sure, 2-3 hours, maybe even more before the polls close. So perhaps people are just taking their time and trickling in. The quote-unquote mad rush of 2 weeks ago is not there. But then at the end of the day, we'll find out what the numbers are. But if it goes the way it's been going since morning, then definitely there's been some sort of voter apathy, which, at the end of the day, we'll figure out why.
All right, so what do you say to INEC in terms of preparations going forward?
Look, I think what happened a couple of weeks ago was a learning process. INEC tried to introduce new technology, which we all applauded. I don't know what happened with the technology. It gave us work properly. I think some of was where perhaps maybe the ball was dropped. Now, like I said, it's a learning process. It's a learning curve, and I think INEC clearly seems to have corrected whatever lofts there were or loopholes there were, and I think we're seeing a much better operation this time around. A system is perfected. It's not perfected on the first day. It's perfected,